we decided to do this since we're not going to be able to have the town hall tonight, but we'll do it down the road. And I wanted to introduce Tanya so that our congregation can get to know Tanya a little bit through Zoom and kind of what's going on. I don't know how much of that actually made it through to you guys.
Got it all.
I got all of it. Yeah, got it all.
Okay, good. So Tanya's with us. You know, I've known of you, you know, been in a few of your classes or whatever, different things that you put on at the conference level from time to time. But what's, you know, share with our First United Methodist Church people kind of your background and how we got to the Thriving Congregation stuff.
Sure, I'm happy to do that. I started out in ministry many years ago, and I won't give you all that story, but a passion of mine that my call led into this passion of children's ministries that led into this passion of intergenerational ministries and faith formation and Christian education. And in and through that, I was introduced to Vibrant Faith, which is a nonprofit organization that seeks to equip, resource, and train faith formation leaders to come alongside them and help them do this work. And so I've been journeying with them for many years, and that led us to this day where they recently, I guess in the last several years, started a coaching arm of their organization and started realizing how beneficial coaching can be, coming alongside people, recognizing the individuals and faith communities, like God is speaking in and through them, that they have all they need to know what to do. And so coaching, we just come along and we ask big questions and we have good conversation that hopefully leads individuals and churches into their next steps. And I really loved that model. I love coming alongside people. I love asking really big questions. I love praying with folks and saying, what is God calling you to do next? And honestly, I like not having to have all the answers because I don't always know what the best here is, individuals and individual congregations. But through listening and holy conversation, we discern that together. So that all kind of came at the same time that Vibrant Faith and the Lilly Grant Foundation was starting to recognize that many of our churches were doing really great things, and they were still struggling to get people to engage, to show up, to participate fully. They also started recognizing that that churches were not engaging their communities fully, that they weren't getting outside the walls as much as they maybe could, so to speak. And so the Lilly Grant Foundation put together this grant project and invited people to apply for these funds to really come up with congregations who are doing great work, strengthen their ministry as they say, you know, how do we continue this work in a way that engages our people, that engages our community, gets full participation? And so that Vibrant Faith kind of looked at that and said, well, that's kind of what we do. We help congregations take what they're doing and make it thrive. And so they put together this ministry proposal, and in the midst of it, they said, wouldn't it be cool if we had cohorts of different congregations that were combined and brought together by denomination? And by faith tradition. And so they said, let's have a Methodist cohort. And they called me and said, what do you think? And would you be willing to lead one? And I said, I think this sounds fun and challenging and exciting. And so I went to our bishop and I said, here's the thing. And we had a really good conversation. And I and others, we in the bishop, we came up with some churches that we thought would be really great candidates. And so here we are. And I am just grateful for the opportunity to journey alongside you all and First Time Methodist Church Victoria. And I am so sad that I cannot be with you all in person, because I was really looking forward to the conversation to see and hear all that you've been learning, and to share that with your congregation, and to say, okay, friends, what do you think is next? What is God calling us to do with all of this? It's a really exciting time, and I'm just grateful to be part of this holy process.
Well, we kind of, I think we figured out September 23rd, Thursday, September 23rd, we're gonna do our best to follow up and have that town hall. It appeared that all of us had that availability on the calendar for September 23rd. So we look forward to that. But in the meantime, Carrie and Don, how's it been from y'all's perspective? What's been the benefit so far?
Yeah, I'll jump in on that. And so first is speaking to Tanya and her role. She really just brings an awesome energy to the discussions. And as she was talking, I wrote down something that she said, and she's really good at asking big questions. And I have mentioned this before, but I think those questions really wind up leading us into directions or areas that we probably wouldn't otherwise get to. And so I don't want to say uncomfortable, that's probably the wrong word, but they're challenging questions. They're big questions that really ask a lot of you and the congregation, and kind of where we want to go. And so, I wrote down big questions, and then I thought, but she doesn't provide any of the answers. And so, which I think is exactly her intention, because it is a very deliberate process, and it isn't something that you do quickly. It's something that they really expect and want you to take your time and make sure it's a direction you want to go. And Tanya really does bring an amazing energy and guidance to those discussions, which help us come back as a congregation and really kind of refine kind of our direction. And so it's been awesome working with her over the last, it's almost been a year, I think. So it's been very, very helpful in the next several months or a few years even.
Yeah, and I'll piggyback off of what Don said quickly. Just Tanya's leadership has really just been paramount through the process, and she does pose the big question, but she's such a good listener and so intuitive as to what is being said and what's not being said and what the need is. And I think we're really lucky to not just have somebody serving as our coach that, this is a national wide program. Am I correct, Tanya, on that? Okay, I thought and as soon as I said that, I started second guessing. But the fact that we have somebody from our conference, there is an intimacy that comes with that. And from that, I think there's also a level of trust that just instantly happened between all of the cohorts, the churches that came together. And so it's just really a beautiful thing and a very sweet thing. And we're very, very privileged to have her guiding in our particular church. I had interest in we are doing because of the connectivity of the Methodist Church and our conference. And then she just is skilled so what she does and how she does it, guiding us. But that's the whole point of this, of it to be a very authentic process of discovering for ourselves what is the right answer and the right direction of how the Holy Spirit is moving with Victoria. And so,
yeah,
it's been a fun process, interesting, very different.
It's interesting too, because as I'm talking and listening, I don't know what's being recorded, but y'all have on my screen very interesting faces that get paused. So that's probably what's going to be recorded and going out to the congregation. But and I would chime in and say, it is, Carrie, you mentioned that Tanya being in our conference office and Methodist, that's an interesting component here too, because it's not like we're taking some structure or process and some Baptist that came up with it and we're trying to integrate it into, our Methodist structure. We've got Tanya's leadership there, and and while it's not a denominational process, we're putting it in there, and Tanya has that expertise and understanding, so that we're not having at this level to change those things. And further, in the Methodist Church, pastors get moved around. And so one of the things that I think is so wonderful about this process is it is very congregation, grassroots. It allows the Holy Spirit to move within the congregation to determine what it is that God is calling us to be or do, which is very, very good, I think, especially in a United Methodist context, when 2 years from now, 8 years from now, or hopefully much longer than that, it's going to be inevitable at some point. I will likely be moved, but the momentum that the congregation has and is, we talk all the time in the local church about talking about doing things, and we go, okay, well, what happens if you get moved? And then the next pastor comes in and they have their set of priorities and all of that. This kind of, works within the congregation. And I just think it's, we talk here about be the church. This is such an important part about such an important part of being the church, and having the church be, I guess, the driving factor along with the Holy Spirit, rather than just one person that comes in and says, okay, here's what we're doing next. So it's exciting.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in real quick, Wade, if that's okay, and say I'm humbled by y'all's support and encouragement. So thank you. And I've just been amazed at the work y'all have done thus far, because it has been ambiguous. It has at times been confusing, foggy, like we can't see the future in front of us. But it's been really amazing to see you and your team and your congregation jump into that challenge of saying, okay, God, we don't know exactly where you're calling us, but we know you're working, and we know you're calling us to do something great. And just like you said, Wade, and some people have kind of asked, what model is this built off of? And we follow similar to a design model flow, where team members and the congregation are really learning and using their skills to listen, to discern and to reflect, and to say, God, what are we hearing from our people, from our communities, and what are you calling us to do with that information? And then your team and your congregation is going to do the work of creating it, living into it, evaluating it. And so not only are you going to get to do these really cool things together, but just like you said, like when pastors move, the people of First United Methodist Church Victoria are equipped to do this work and making amazing ministry, no matter who the next pastor is. And I think that is beautiful. And I am excited about the gifts I've seen already in your community. And I can't wait to meet more people and hear more ideas and see where God takes you next. It really is exciting.
Well, we're looking forward to September 23rd now. And I think it's going to be a great time. We're looking forward to having you here, and so that you can kind of see, what we've got going on. We're proud of a lot of the things that we are doing, and really proud of where, even though we're still somewhat in the infant stages of this process, I think it has helped direct a lot of things, at least from my perspective. It's opened up my eyes to a lot of things that we need to be aware of as we make some different leadership decisions and styles and things. So we're looking forward to that, and looking forward to having you here in September.
Thanks. I am too. It's going to be exciting to be there in person and see and hear more about all that you're doing. And I just appreciate the grace and look forward to when we can be together.
Well, I guess we can wrap things up here. You know, I didn't want to keep you too terribly long, and with the freezing and everything on my end, internet wise. But is there anything final that Don, you or Carrie want to add?
You know, the one thing that comes to mind is that at this point, you know, the way the process worked as we're a relatively small group, and that was intended to help and doing some overall kind of refinement, direction, and things like that. But I really do think that anybody can make it out to the town hall meeting on September 23rd. We'll hear what we've been talking about, and kind of, I think that will reinforce the process that we've discussed, and would really encourage everybody to try to get out, because Tanya's been through this in terms of working with other churches, and I'm sure our questions that people have aren't unique to just us. And so I know that given that ability to show up, be together, share, and learn, I think is something that everybody in our congregation would benefit from.
Absolutely. Carrie, anything?
Yeah, it's a chance to be together, for us to even hear from you a little more, do more listening, and a chance for us to just learn from one another and grow together. And again, just anytime we can do that, I think it's something that will be a benefit to all of us. So hope everyone can and will make a point to put September 23rd on your calendar, and look forward to that opportunity to have Tanya in our midst, and that time together.